Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Paul Foster Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm glad to be able to speak in this first reading of the Care of Children Law Reform Bill. I understand that the intention of this bill, as expressed in its purpose, is in fact to enable an evidence-based modernisation of the law as it relates to the care of children in New Zealand, specifically that of around the adoption of children. And as members before me have noted, adoption law reform is on the government's legislative agenda, but there is much more pressing work that needs to be addressed as a matter of urgency in this country. We on this side understand that and are well aware of the issues raised by this bill, and while at the practical level the adoption system in New Zealand by and large works fairly well despite being rather outdated, and this applies whether these are adoptions from birth or later in life due to the orphaning of a child or other circumstances. And this is not to say there are not improvements that could be made. There are other pressing priorities that we are focusing on. Adoption, Mr. Speaker, is not a new thing, and I'm sure our learned Attorney General will be aware of this example. 1900 years ago, a non-patrician soldier born in Spain by the name of Marcus Ulpius Traianus became by adoption the Emperor Trajan, Caesar of the Roman Empire. Trajan later went on to be considered one of the best Roman emperors, a virtuous pagan, as Edward Gibbon characterised him. It's unfortunate that, at some points in our history, there has been a certain stigma around adoption and discrimination against adoptees, for instance, in the right to inherit, but I'm encouraged by the fact that this has largely abated, with the majority of adoptions in New Zealand now being open ones. And speaking from our own family experience, a situation whereby my brother had a daughter at a very young age, and my parents raised my niece, their granddaughter, in what some might call a whāngai arrangement, not a formal adoption, but an open, familial-based adoption that the previous speaker referred to. These systems and approaches are working in New Zealand. There isn't an urgent or pressing crisis here that needs to be addressed, although there are obviously some room for areas where there could be some improvement. Mr. Speaker, people adopt, among other reasons, because they want to create a family or take into care a family, in the care of their family, a child who has been neglected, abandoned by its parents or orphaned. New Zealand has some of the easiest, most straightforward and least stressful adoption procedures in the world when you're looking at other countries that operate adoption systems. I acknowledge that this bill has the best interests of children at its core. However, it currently contains provisions or no workable provisions, in fact. It is impracticable. It would require a large amount of dedicated resource to make any operable suggestions. So, Mr. Speaker, even though National does not support this bill, I'd like to highlight some of the initiatives that this government is taking, which do significantly improve the lives of the most vulnerable children. Since National came into office in 2008, we have increased spending on early childhood education by 75%. At the end of the last financial year, we celebrated the fact that almost 96% of children starting in school had previously participated in some form of early childhood education. Under this government, we've also seen large increases in the numbers of 8-month-olds being fully immunised from diseases such as whooping cough and hepatitis B, including some outstanding results among Māori and Pacifica communities, which had previously and traditionally lagged behind their peers in immunisation rates. Again, in the health sector, we've seen a reduction in rheumatic fever rates in young children. More than 47,000 school children have joined the government's program to reduce rheumatic fever, and we now have 211 schools and 9 community-based clinics taking part in this, with 146 new schools joining in the last 12 months. And perhaps one of the most significant measures National has taken to reduce the plight of vulnerable children was to introduce the Vulnerable Children Bill. Mr. Speaker, there is not one member in this House who does not want to give every child a better start in life. In New Zealand, there are far too many children who have been the victims of physical or psychological abuse, and quite frankly, New Zealanders have had enough. So I believe it is quite right that these sorts of measures which address the real and pressing and urgent issues ahead of changes to adoption rules, which, though outdated, affect a far smaller group of children than these major problem areas, are prioritised. As part of National's Children's Action Plan, we've already expanded social workers in schools and hospitals, increased funding and services for children in care, and introduced children's teams to work with at-risk children. I also welcome the Members' Bill which was introduced by Tracy Martin and, let's face it, a far more carefully worked out Members' Bill which addresses some issues around clothing for orphans and kin carers. So, as I previously said, we're here to support the most vulnerable children in society. The government is attending to this pressing business, and I hope there will be more practical and more carefully considered legislation in this area brought forward in the future.
Oh dear, this will be sanctimonious.
I call the...
That's sanctimonious.
Order. I haven't called anybody yet. Calm down, guys. Calm down.
You gave him the floor, then he sat down. Speech is over.
Order. I'm on my feet. Right.
Mr. Speaker.
I call the Honourable Member Dr. Rajin Prasad.